Welcome to the Ben and Lauren Show.
Season 1, Episode 2.
Season 1, Episode 2. Hello.
Another week.
Yeah, another week. We're trying to get comfortable behind the camera, changing a few things around just a little bit.
Another week, and the kids are in bed and asleep.
Kids are in bed.
We have crickets.
Crickets are chirping. And we can finally sit down and we can...
Drink hot pumpkin custard.
Oh,
early.
Funny you should mention some pumpkin custard. Our drink for the evening. If you can see that nice, I don't want to spill it on my keyboard, but nice orange color.
I think you could just see in there. Yep. Oh, there you go. This is called Use Up the Leftover Pumpkin in the Refrigerator.
This is called It's Almost September. It's pumpkin everything.
Dum, dum, dum. It's coming.
It's coming.
Fall's almost here. Okay.
See, we've learned our lesson. We're actually going to put the recipe in the description.
Okay, we'll put the recipe in the description.
So
yes. Ben's with sugar, mine without sugar.
So we don't have to put it in the comments below.
So you don't say...
You don't have to ask. We'll just give it to you.
Okay, we'll give it to you. All right, so what do we want to talk about this week? Should we start with the weekly overview?
Okay, weekly overview.
Let's pick one thing this week. What did we do that was interesting this week?
We had a friend come down and visit us from Arkansas.
Yep, we sure did. At Essential Oil Mom.
At Essential Oil Mom.
Also known as Cassie.
Yep. With her husband, Dwells, who unfortunately was not there, but he was there in spirit.
He was also there in video chat.
And he was there in video chat for a few minutes.
On the road.
Hi, Dustin. How you doing? Dwells.
That was a really nice visit. In spite of the fact that we thought we would meet at the park so all the kids would be able to play on the swings and stuff because they have their son. She had her son with her. And we got up in the morning and it looked a little cloudy. And Ben's parents said, "There's an 80% chance of rain. You're going to the park?" And we said, "It's an 80% chance. There's a 20% chance it won't rain." And it rained the whole time.
It did.
We got so wet.
It did.
The kids got so wet.
Umbrella? Nah.
We didn't even bring an umbrella, but we did.
Ponchos? Nah.
We did sit under a shelter for a while. We took a walk in the rain. We saw lots of ducks.
Yeah. And the girls had a good time.
Girls had a good time. She brought us a whole bunch of stuff from the garden.
And that was good stuff.
That was good stuff. We almost threw all the cucumbers.
Probably the best cucumbers I've had in a while.
Yeah, they were really good. They were really crunchy. Yeah.
I'm looking at you or the camera.
Well, I'm looking at you too because it's distracting to me to just look at the camera. And okra. She brought a whole bunch of okra and our kids said, "Yuck!" I like the okra though.
I tried some raw okra.
It does taste better cooked.
It's better cooked.
But I blanched it and I got it frozen because I didn't know if we'd get it prepared fresh before it really got tough.
Right.
And I can attest to the fact there was plenty of good stuff in it because the water turned to syrup just blanching it for a second.
Lauren showed it to me. She cut it up and it's just slime everywhere. We know it's good.
It was good. Yeah.
We know it's good stuff.
We know it's good stuff. Yep. Okay, so we froze the okra and we had a very long conversation with Cassie. Made plans to see them in September. Yeah,
and turns out she does like spicy food. Had we realized that, we would have brought some of that good barbecue sauce from episode 1.
Well, Dustin said we should make her try some, and I said I don't see anyone making Cassie do anything.
She would have tried it. She would have liked it.
Turns out she likes spicy food.
Yeah.
I thought Dustin was kidding. Well, maybe we'll.
I'm not trying any more of that on camera. You'll have to watch season 1 or episode 1 for that.
Yeah, this is season 1.
Season 1, episode 1, if you want to see that.
So we had a very nice visit.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to see her.
Despite the rain. Maybe because of the rain.
We'll remember it as the day we visited in the rain, probably.
Mm-hmm. And so that was very nice. I had all sorts of ideas. We were going to do get the video camera out and stuff for the but you're visiting someone, you're chatting with them, you're spending time with them.
You can either live life or video it.
It's a little
yeah. We need to learn Papa Pepper's trick of just grabbing a camera and just
videotaping. How he does that.
I don't know how he does that. He remembers to do it.
He remembers to do it. He grabs his camera. Well, my camera on my phone is not very good, so
that might be part of it.
That might be part of it.
So, what else do we do? I watched a really interesting documentary. Well, I got about halfway through it, and I was so incensed I stopped it so I could tell Ben all about it, and we still haven't finished watching it.
So we can watch it together and both get mad together. That's much better to be angry together.
It was a documentary
Who wants to be angry alone?
It was a documentary called
Incensed?
No, invalidated. Which is almost as bad. And it's made by a man named Josh Malone. And he is the original inventor of a really nifty thing called bunch of balloons.
Oh, you mean this bunch of balloons?
No, that's the one that got stolen.
Oh.
See, what happened was he's a homeschool dad of 8, and his wife was really sick. And while he was home with taking care of his wife, he thought he would try to work on an invention. And he and his kids basically worked together and invented this thing that fills water balloons. You can get 100 water balloons filled in 60 seconds, and they self-tie. So you basically hook it onto the end of a hose, and it fills them all up.
If you can see the picture.
They started a Kickstarter campaign for this, and the As Seen on TV people bought one of his prototypes and copied it and put it on the shelves in Walmart and all kinds of places before he ever even had a chance to do anything. And he had a patent he thought he was safe.
So this is the knockoff version that we got here.
Yeah, it says As Seen on TV. Well, someone actually gave us this for one of our children's birthdays, and we hadn't used it yet. And once I found out it was the Evil Thieves version, I don't think we're going to open it.
Is this where it says on? Oh, there it is.
Yep, U.S. patent pending.
It says.
So they took him to court, got laughed out of court twice, and finally took him before something that's brand new called the, what's it called? The Patent Trade. See, it's called PTAB for short, but it's called the Patent Trade and something board. Basically, the Patent Trial and Appeal Board.
Well, that sounds good enough. We need to have a patent trial and appeal board, right?
Well, the idea was interesting. It was to get rid of, frivolous patents that people patent an idea that nobody should patent.
Well, we should get rid of frivolous patents that nobody should patent, right?
Except they get rid of patents that are real. They get rid of 76% of the patents that are seen before their board. And in this case, Josh Malone lost his patent. They revoked his patent because in his patent, he said that the water balloons drop off after they are substantially full of water. And the argument of the As Seen on TV people was
these guys
that nobody can tell when a balloon is substantially full of water, so therefore his patent is useless. And the Patent Trial and Review Appeal Board looked at that and said, yep, you're right, nobody can patent that. Patent revoked. So he lost his whole invention after it was really taking off and he'd done all the work to market it.
I think we should post a little video that they did in the below.
Or maybe we can, or maybe a link to invalidate. So that's how we ended up spending a lot of time thinking about patents and how important they are.
Well, it just so happens that we're in a business where we're doing an innovative idea that's never been done before, and we don't want somebody taking that idea and running with it. Someone from, by the way, they're a Chinese company.
Oh yeah, and they've now got a patent pending on his invention.
Well, they have a foreign patent pending. Right. So they invalidated the real patent in the U.S., stole the idea. Well, let me reverse it. They stole the idea, fought it in court. It was dismissed in court twice because the judge is like, forget about it. This guy has a patent. It's protected. There's nothing we can do. Don't steal his product. Stop making. But so they threw it out of court. But then they appealed to this PTAB, and PTAB said, oh, well,
Well, it made sense when we found out how PTAB was created. PTAB was created by something called the America Invents Act and was signed into law by President Obama in, wouldn't you know it, 2012.
So it's a good thing, right?
Well, no, because President Obama believes that you didn't build that.
Yes, I did. Well, I didn't.
You didn't build that.
I didn't build that.
You didn't build that, and you don't have borders, and everybody's property should belong to everybody else.
Or maybe American property should belong to China.
Something like that. So basically, this is a case of socialism. But one of the things that makes our country work the way it does is that people can own their own ideas. And they can own their own inventions, and they can make money with them. If you invalidate that, why would anybody bother making a company?
Exactly.
And that's where our dilemma is. How do we protect our new process that we've invented if some board of review comes along and says, you don't own that?
So that was very alarming. It makes us think that even if we get a patent, if somebody comes along, steals it, and we try to appeal, they're going to say, well,
Right.
Sorry.
We could get it overturned. So we found there's a whole new layer to protecting our new business that we did not know about. We thought getting the patent was going to be the rough part, but turns out it's getting the patent and holding the patent that's going to be rough.
So we're trying to learn a little bit of business secrecy. I mean, we're okay with talking about stuff and explaining stuff, but we just have to be able to figure out what we can talk about and what we cannot talk about.
Discretion.
Not secret. Secret's a bad word. It's discretion.
We have to be able to guard ourselves. And that's a concept that's useful for anybody, but we thought that the whole thing was going to be taken care of once we got a patent.
But we don't have a patent.
We don't have a patent yet, and when we do, it better be airtight.
Right. So that was something we got to look into.
Yeah.
But until then, we're not talking about
it. Too late.
China's going to steal it from us.
Oh, yeah. My sister Elizabeth brought us something to try. She watched our last video.
Oh,
so she said we had to try this.
So we had a fan watching the show last week.
Yeah, my sister, one of 10 fans.
And she was giving some feedback, and I said, yeah, we're looking for food ideas for our Ben and Lauren show. So she got us a chunk of cheese. We're going to try this chunk of cheese like this.
We are?
Well, okay, maybe a little more...
You want a knife?
Maybe a little bit more civilized than that. All right, let's talk a little bit about this cheese.
It's called Pirano, not piranha. It's not going to eat you.
So I think she saw this at the store and she thought it would be something interesting. So
it's described as a cross between Parmesan and Gouda.
So it's Gouda Parmesan.
I think it's just really soft compared to Parmesan.
I've had Parmesan before. I've never had Parmesan this Gouda before.
Oh, that's terrible.
All right. Okay. So I guess we'll try it and describe it. Very cheesy.
Well, it's very, very sharp.
It's not spicy.
It is a lot like Parmesan. Yeah, it's not spicy. That's an improvement.
It has kind of a...
Yeah, it's a lot like Parmesan. Soft Parmesan.
Soft Parmesan.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite good.
Does it make your eyes water?
Nope.
It must not be that sharp.
So some cheeses do. Some cheeses, if I eat it, my eyes will start watering.
So Parano cheese is apparently a cow's milk cheese made in the Netherlands. It's imported from Holland.
If you read the label.
And it's like Gouda. I think it's really good. Now we need to find something to eat with it.
And you know what? It goes really good with pumpkin custard drinks.
You know, I read one of the suggestions on their website was to replace the cheese and macaroni and cheese with this, but I looked at how much it cost. How much was it?
It was a lot.
It was like...
It was a generous gift. Thank you.
$6 a pound.
No, it was like $15 a pound or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, $15 a pound.
At
$15 a pound, I am not replacing our macaroni and cheese with it.
No, probably not.
No. Our kids will just gobble it all down. Oh, that was yummy.
$15.99 per pound.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a little steep.
So this is some high-quality cheese we got to enjoy tonight. It is
really tasty. We have to find a good recipe for that. It is really good, Elizabeth.
I think the next step is getting our own cow, milking it, and making cheese out of it. Make your own homemade raw cheese.
Okay, Mr. Stewart.
Oh, like Martha Stewart? Mr. Stewart?
You're Mr. Stewart, yeah. We also have to get the sea salt from the seashore.
Oh, yeah, of course. We're going to hop on our bikes and go to, one of the oceans and get some sea salt for our raw milk cheese we're making.
I think we need this. I got lost back when you said we need a cow. We can't even keep chickens in the backyard without someone. I mean, we might not even get away with bees, let alone chickens, let alone a cow.
It's no secret. We're homestead wannabes.
We are?
Yep. We're homestead wannabes.
Now we're wannabes. We used to be. We can't even possibly imagine.
We like to call ourselves urban homesteaders, but I think we're dreaming a little bit.
I think that means 6 tomato plants and a cucumber plant.
Our garden looks great this year. And Lauren makes yogurt. She cans, too.
Oh, we have so far to go. Anyway.
We're learning. This is our learning time. We're learning slowly, little by little, and maybe we'll build a fence one of these days.
Oh, we did it. Oh, yeah, maybe we might build a fence. Maybe.
So maybe what?
We were going to talk about one more thing. Peter Strzok got fired.
Oh, our political segment. Welcome to our political segment.
Can you
we already cut the cheese. Now it's time to move on to politics.
There seems to be a dovetailing of the... Anyway, Peter Strzok got fired. Can you imagine anybody else keeping their job this long after that guy? I mean, the inspector general comes along and says, yeah, we found the leak in your security. This guy.
Yeah.
And he gets up in front of Congress. I've got the best integrity of anyone who's ever worked in the FBI office. Bias? Me? I can't believe it took him so long to get fired.
He's got friends in high places.
Very high places, apparently.
He has friends. What is their names again? Inton something? Intons? I don't know.
It starts with a C and ends with an Inton.
Yeah, and there's this whole body count thing they talk about, and yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's a way of having influence in Washington, D.C.
After he got fired, how much money did he raise on some type of GoFundMe account? Just sympathy money, like $350,000 within hours.
Oh, because he was wrongly persecuted, the poor guy.
Meanwhile, we have friends who had an emergency helicopter flight who now owe thousands.
So, Peter Strzok, sometimes the bad guys sometimes get a lot of sympathy, and they get a lot of attention, and perhaps that's not exactly warranted, but c'est la vie.
C'est la vie. And the good news is he did get fired.
And he did get fired. And I don't think he's going to be tweeting his girlfriend anymore.
Is she still his girlfriend?
I don't even know.
After all that,
I don't know.
She seemed like she was smarter than him. I mean, she's the one that wouldn't talk to Congress.
Yeah, she was invited to come in, and she didn't come in the first time. Then Peter Strzok came in and gave his demonic testimony.
Demonic?
Have you seen it?
Well, okay, I wanted to smack him, but I wouldn't.
He had horns coming out of his head. He's got this weird grin. It was just
I think he was just scared.
Maybe.
He was covering it up, whistling past the graveyard.
He was probably scared, but anyway.
Okay, anyway.
Then she eventually came in, and she, I don't know, I didn't actually see the
No, because she negotiated a lot so that she didn't have to be embarrassed like him.
I see. So she was not actually filmed. So she gave her testimony, and we didn't get to see it because she's a girl. That's okay.
No, she was smarter than him.
Because she's smarter than him.
I don't think it was because she was a girl. I think it's because she was smarter.
Okay. It's not gender preference?
Well, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know enough about the situation. I haven't really listened that much this week. I've been so busy catching up.
Patents.
Well, this whole business thing's like eating an elephant one bite at a time.
One little piece of elephant at a time.
And where's the cheese? Oh, yeah, here it is. So, anything else come up this week? Got a few minutes left.
There's plenty more. We had another funeral we went to today.
Oh, yeah.
So we had Grandma's funeral and the viewing, and that was about 2 full days.
Keep in mind we haven't been to a funeral for a long time.
Yeah, thankfully. And then we went to a funeral of a dear friend of mine. His son died of, what was the name of the condition? It was a rare cancer.
Angiosarcoma?
Angiosarcoma.
I think it was called. AS was what they were calling it. I think it's angiosarcoma.
And he was diagnosed, 10 full years before?
10
years ago?
Almost 10 years ago. It was just short of 10 years.
So in that time, he knew he had a terminal illness. And in that time, he was an airline pilot flying in a commercial airline for years.
He had another son.
He lived his life fighting this thing. And it really looked like he was nailing it. It was until maybe the last couple months now, right?
Yeah, they thought that he'd gone into remission, and then all of a sudden it just popped up again, and it sounds like this time he couldn't fight it.
It was the beginning of this year, beginning of 2017. It sounds like that everything kind of...
What was interesting, though, about his memorial was that he knew for so long that he could die, that he wrote letters to all kinds of people.
Yeah.
He wrote letters to his friends, and they were all his farewell letters. He spent plenty of time with that.
I'll get it.
But he left an actual message to be read at his funeral. It was his message to everybody. And most people don't get that chance to get that coherent last words.
What was amazing is that we were pretty much hearing him talking to various members of his family. Now, I don't know if he intended that to be publicly spoken at his memorial, but either way, it was widely disseminated at the memorial. There was several hundred people there.
It was very moving.
It was very moving. We were basically hearing him talk to his brothers and sisters and friends. And
we'd never met him.
Never met him. But it's funny, when you go to a memorial, you hear so much about an individual, you feel like you know him.
Think you know him.
You feel like you met him.
Did you want to read his last words? They were actually pretty special because, what does a man say who knows he's dying for a long time? Yeah.
So he wrote this in 2013. I think this is when he knew
he was going to have brain surgery. Because this, I guess, particular cancer causes lesions all over your body, and this one was in his brain.
And brain surgery is dangerous because you can take a tumor out and you can affect other parts of your brain. Next thing you know, your personality changes, your memories are gone or altered.
Who you are changes.
Who you are is affected. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it totally changes. I believe in a soul, so I think that there is something that is permanently within a person that who that person is.
But I think he was making sure before he went into that surgery, he left behind a record.
Yeah.
So this was the last thing they read.
Okay, so I'll read this. This is his last message, or one of his messages. His advice. He says, "Enjoy your families. Enjoy your friends. Above all else, enjoy your life, because you only have one chance to make it through it all with a smile. Please, for all those who suffer in life, whether it be minuscule or a tragedy, do not let a second go by where you do not smile. Your world may be turned upside down, and it is what you do afterwards that truly affects your lasting outcome and the lasting outcomes of those around you. Through life and death, I want to be remembered as a man who loved and lived no matter what. I want to be remembered by my boys as a father who found the good in everything. I want my wife to know that my love for her is stronger than it ever has been. I want to be remembered by my family and friends as a man who is able to smile against overwhelming odds." And what we heard was that's exactly what he did, is that he was positive through the entire thing. When people would approach him and talk to him and ask him, "How are you doing?
How's treatment going?
How's treatment going? How are you feeling? How are you getting through this?" He would change the subject and he would immediately say, "Enough about me. Let's talk about you." Because he didn't want to drone on about what his life has been like. He wanted to hear about other people's lives.
And it's significant that he lived. I think I read that when this cancer metastasizes to your brain, people are given 8 to 10 weeks to live. Yeah. He lived for years after it went to his brain. I think at least 4 or 5 years.
So how many years did he gain just by having a positive outlook?
By smiling, I don't know. But
smiling?
I'll tell you.
And he was focusing on others and not focusing on himself, because it's so easy to be full of self-pity.
Well, especially with a diagnosis like that.
Right. It's a terminal diagnosis.
And he's only 2 months older than I am. Yeah. He was 36 years old.
36 years old, young man.
So it was amazing to hear his letters, how he spoke to family member after family member. He wrote a letter to his sons. He wrote a letter to his wife. He wrote a letter to his mom. Apparently,
his friends.
His mom was in charge of keeping all the letters, and he wrote one to her, but he hid it, and they haven't found it yet. So I hope she finds it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
we figured that last episode we talked about a funeral. Now this episode we're talking about a funeral.
It's
just FYI, we have one more funeral to go to.
It was quite a week.
It's not funny, but it's like you have to have a positive attitude, or else you will be sad all the time.
Well, and in these funerals, what we learn is the important things for life.
Yeah.
Because when you gather to talk about a death, what you end up talking about is what is important in life.
In life, right. And
this is what Ryan felt was important in life, that he wanted people to remember at his funeral. And
even more so than weddings. At weddings, everyone is looking forward to the future of this couple. And it's like almost looking into a possible future story. But at a funeral, you're looking back at a lived life. And
it's wrapped up now.
It's all wrapped up, and you have this whole thing wrapped up, this whole story. So I think you can learn a lot from going to funerals.
Yeah. What does Ecclesiastes say?
You'll have to quote it.
It says something along the lines of it's better to spend time in the houses of mourning than in the house of a wedding or some such thing like that. But better to spend time in the houses of the dead because of how you learn at that time.
And I don't think he's trying to say that you should be sad all the time.
No, I think this is exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah. Because when people are serious, they're going to talk about serious things.
Yep.
When they're joyous and full of wine and
full of a lot of
alcohol,
other stuff,
you're not talk about likely to get a whole lot from that.
Right.
Sometimes, but not often. So I think that pretty much concludes the Ben and Lauren show tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. We went a little bit over, but not too much. So we're going to turn off the camera now and finish our drinks. And
good night, everybody.
Good night.